We can start this evening with breaking news from Gail Davis, who is at the Emirates. What can you tell us, Gail?
Well, it's a deal that we've been talking about since the early hours of this morning. Jorginho is now an Arsenal player. I'm just quickly scrolling through because, of course, he's done his interview on the club website. So I haven't had a chance to actually listen to that and get you some quotes yet. But we saw him a little bit earlier with his agent, didn't we? In his Arsenal kit, his Arsenal socks, and confirmation from the club. An 18-month deal with the option of an extra year as well. Remember, last 6 months of his contract with Chelsea. So it's a fee of around £12 million. And Mikel Arteta has talked a lot in the last few weeks. He wanted to strengthen that midfield position. We know how well Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka have done in that central midfield role, but we also know that Mohamed El-Neni has picked up a serious injury. Confirmed today he'd had an operation on his knee and they desperately needed cover there. It wasn't perhaps the midfielder many Arsenal fans thought they would get. Remember, Moses Caicedo was told by Brighton that he wouldn't be leaving and Arsenal had hands off, but they have got themselves a new midfielder for the run-in this season, and that huge amount of experience that he brings as a Euros winner and as a Champions League winner as well will no doubt help Arteta, who's a big fan of his. Tried to sign him Arsenal tried to sign him back in 2020 and when Arteta was part of Manchester City's coaching back in 2018 as well. So they have a midfielder in their ranks on deadline day.
Arsenal have signed Jorginho. Do you see that one coming? Yes, well, Chelsea don't really need him, so it makes perfect sense for them to get rid because they're trying to sign all the players that have ever existed, but Arsenal do need a very specific type of player, a player who can play the number 6 role. Now, you've seen this time and time and again on this channel, Tifo IRL. If you have enjoyed those videos, then do please subscribe and come back because that'd be very nice of you. But I'll just show you one last time what happens with Arsenal when they build up. They have a back 2, it becomes a middle 3, then there's the 2 midfielders who push forward, and you've got wide players who do that. Sometimes when Ben White will go on the outside like this, sometimes Zinchenko will swap with Xhaka, that sort of stuff here. But one of the things that never really changes at all is that this player, the number 6 in Mikel Arteta's system, stays here. Very important player. Now, the options that Arsenal wanted to try and sign suit a very specific type of role. So obviously you want to try and have cover because the problem Arsenal have is that Mohamed El-Neni is injured, so unavailable, and they only have Thomas Partey to play that position. This is how Partey plays. This is what he does, right? He's really good. There's lots of stuff, lots of carrying and dribbling, lots of progressive passing, this sort of thing. Never gets in the box. He stays back. We know that. That's what he does. And it has a good defensive impact. So he helps break up the play, recycle it, keep it going. That's what Thomas Partey does. So that's what they want to try and have, something like that, to have direct cover for that role. It's very specific. So the other players they were linked with first, before going for Jorginho, of course, Moises Caicedo at Brighton, great player. You see his sort of, his pizza chart shows him slightly different. Like he's good at lots of things, but not amazing at anything. Good link-up play and ball retention, so that's important. He would have made a good choice, but very, very expensive, kind of unavailable. Brighton don't want to sell him, so you can't get him, that's why. Then you go to Declan Rice. They like Declan Rice, maybe in the summer. Declan Rice, really good at carrying, link-up play, ball retention, excellent. He'd be very good for the role. Also, lots of defensive intensity, lots of hard work off the ball, and he can carry the ball as well. This is one of the things that's really important, he can carry. So you see the difference between Partey, kind of doesn't do that much, but he can when you want to. Then you go to Caicedo, who doesn't really carry it at all, he passes, maybe that's a system thing. Then you've got Rice, who can do all the different bits and pieces. So then they've landed on Jorginho. And Jorginho, as you can see, is a much more defensive player. So although he's quite similar to Partey in the position he plays, and the positions he takes up, and the short passes he likes to play, it's very little progression. Very much, this guy keeps things in order, very neat and tidy, and that's good in big games when you're trying to control the game and lock it down. So that's going to be very useful as an option to have. Not many progressive passes, doesn't really get involved in attacks, but lots of defensive goodness, we'll say. That's what Jorginho brings to you. And so we know he's quite a different profile of player, but this is the thing, you're getting a player on a 1.5 year deal with another option for another year for £12 million, who has won a Euro 2020, he's won the Champions League, he's won the Club World Cup, he's won the Europa League. He brings experience and leadership to this team when he goes into this position here. If you look at other winners on this team, think of the impact that Zinchenko has had since coming into that team. He's won league titles and other cups with Man City, same as Gabriel Jesus is on the bench over there. The only other real winner in that team who's actually won stuff is Kieran Kieran Tierney, who doesn't get a game because Zinchenko's so good. So Jorginho brings experience, leadership, and as you see from his numbers, he calms things down. So when Arsenal are pushing forward and you're getting all these lads up top trying to score goals, floating about, what you'd get generally is Partey would be next to the midfielders in their rest defence to try and stop counter-attacks, as we've covered on the channel, like I say. But then you've got Jorginho now, who maybe rather than trying to thread through a pass, he can do these and play these passes. You'll see him do it a lot. He can do these. He just tends to try and keep things safer. And Arteta is a big fan. He was one of the people who was really vouching for him at Man City when before he went to Chelsea, of course. He was at Napoli, really highly respected around Europe. And yeah, Arteta really wanted to buy him. He knows the player very well, so you think he knows what you have. The thing he doesn't have is pace. So if the ball does turn over and people are able to break at speed, you won't find him being able to cover the ground very quickly. He's a bit like a tugboat in that regard. But it doesn't matter, because the speed of his mind is very quick. And so often, if you are in the right place at the right time, if you see a trouble, so you can see the ball might turn over, he might step in to try and block the pass that's going to come, to try and make them make a different pass, which slows things down. He does things very cleverly off the ball that can help with that defensive part of the game, and then we see from his numbers that he likes to then keep things ticking over, and he's really good in these short combinations. When Arsenal get forward, he'll be really useful at just tapping the ball around, moving in position to be free for a pass. He's always free for passes, which is one of the reasons he's something like the 16th highest number of passes per 90 since he joined the Premier League from Napoli. Yeah, that's what he does. He passes the ball, he touches the ball a lot, he helps to control the game, has lots of experience, leadership, he's cheap, he's there, he's going to give them good cover, and is an excellent squad player to have because he's got the experience of winning that you need to push for a title that Arsenal might win. Will they? Maybe Jorginho will be the secret with his lovely penalties. That's Jorginho and why it makes sense to Arsenal, for me.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic is home to some of the world's best sports journalists, including journalists dedicated to each Premier League team, so every fan gets the coverage they deserve, not just the big